Thank you for joining us and welcome to another episode of Doctor's Diary. My name is Dr. Mercy Korir. Our first story is that of Professor Rachel Musoke. Professor Musoke is a Ugandan by birth, but she spent her entire career as a neonatologist taking care of newborns at the Kenyatta National Hospital. I met up with her just as she retired to relocate back to Kampala, Uganda.
I am Rachel Nandaula Musoke. I used to be Masembe before I got married. In Uganda we have clans. I belong to the Nsenene clan, which is a special type of grasshopper.
It is here at the Kenyatta National Hospital where she cemented her career as a pediatrician and a consultant neonatologist. Many doctors who are pediatricians have passed through her hands, and others credit her for the newborn unit and introducing kangaroo mother care in Kenyatta National Hospital. Now 76 years old, she retires and moves back to Kampala, Uganda, where her career began.
Sometimes probably I was always told I was too strict, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that until now people come and say, you used to be so strict. But I don't think I would have done it differently, because the way we were taught in medical school is, okay, you treat, it was, you have to follow specific things for specific things to happen.
Petite, soft-spoken, and the silver hair of a wise old lady, Professor Rachel Musoke is well known for her no-nonsense when it comes to the newborn babies.
We used to have a key to the department where we had a bilirubinometer. So even in the night, those days were good. Even in the night, the registrars would go with their sample from maternity cross, come open the department, do whatever they do, bring back the results. Then, of course, eventually we moved to this tower. And we were very happy to move into the neonatal unit. We moved there in 1982. We were very excited. And we started the journey. Most of you have been through that journey. You came at different levels. But for me, I have no regrets. When you look after a small baby, even less than a kilo, and you meet a mom in the road, and like a small person, people come to the newborn unit, they ask you, you mean this is a person? Yeah, they do. So I said, yes, this is a person. So now you meet them, and they are taller than you, and moms are very happy. I get happy that we are able to save babies that we were not able to save before. But now with more information on how to look after them, a lot more are being saved. Many of the very tiny babies never used to survive, now they survive.
Before this day, I had last seen Professor 10 years back as I did my turn at the pediatrics unit at the University of Nairobi, specifically at the newborn unit. This is where babies from the first few minutes of life to their 28th day are admitted.
Around the year 2000, one of my colleagues met another colleague from Bogota. Kangaroo came from Colombia, Bogota, and they happened to be talking. And then that time we didn't have a kangaroo care in our unit. So this lady now suggested, why don't you send a team to Bogota to learn how to do kangaroo? So at that time I was in charge of the unit. So we sent a nurse and a doctor to learn kangaroo. And when they came back, That's when we started the kangaroo program. Because we didn't have a room where we could do full-time kangaroo, we were doing intermittent kangaroo. So the moms come in between the feeding, they sit with the babies, kangaroo care, and eventually, I can't remember which year it was, Save the Children helped us to equip the kangaroo room that we have.
Rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made.
The curtains were being drawn here at the Kenyatta National Hospital as the good professor called it a wrap at the Kenyan stage.
So learning to listen to others, I think, is another thing that we really must calculate and become part of us, so that each one of us, we are a family. We are a big family, and I think we need to make each and every person happy. I know some of the moms leave us without a baby, and it's very, very sad when we lose a baby.
As she parks her vintage car one last time before her daughter, the new owner comes in. She retires to Kampala in body, but her heart and soul is in Kenya, and with the many mothers who are able to go back home with their bundles of joy safely enveloped in their arms.
Music, with voice divine. So when you sing a song like that, the words are so meaningful that the sadness maybe you might have brought from wherever, it calms you down. Yeah, it calms you down. Voice divine.
From neonatology, we move to surgery. Chabet Birir brought you the story of Dr. Pramanand Panov, who is a cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon at the Karen Hospital.
Dr. Panov has been a cardiac surgeon for more than 25 years. He has performed more than 15,000 surgeries since he started practicing. At the Karen Hospital, he has been able to perform over 150 open heart operations since he landed at the medical institution. His parents took him back to his native India at the age of 6, where he attended Christian schools. According to him, most of the best-run schools in India were owned by the Catholic Church. He says his choice for medicine as a career was informed partly by his dislike for mathematics.
During the studies, I was very bad in mathematics. I don't know why. Maybe I was introduced in a wrong way. I'm not sure. I hated maths, even now also. Except for simple mathematics, anything more than that, I feel, totally out of, like algebra, all those things. So I wanted to take a profession which doesn't have maths at all. So I found that medicine is one branch which doesn't have any maths, number one. Number two, it doesn't have any maths, except for in biochemistry. When you study in the first year, has a little bit of chemistry and all sort of things, but otherwise nothing. Another thing is that my father, I don't know, maybe because of his influence or his fascination for doctors, maybe it's a noble profession, he always indirectly hinted me that I should be a doctor. So probably those are the two reasons I became a doctor.
Dr. Prem, as he is commonly referred to by his colleagues and patients, says his journey into medicine was not a walk in the park, but he never at one point thought of giving up, even as he walked alone, with no one to guide him.
Basically, I'm a self-made man, in the sense there was no one to guide me. Because if there is a doctor in your house, he can put you to the right track. So I had to fight my way through. There was no godfather to bless you and take you and hold your hand and take you. So I had to find my own way. Even everything, starting from applying to everything, it was done by me. The problem was that my father was in Kuwait. He was still working. So I was in India. So I have to take decision by him. So that time there was no email or Facebook. Everything is by letter, which reaches after 1 month. So many times I had to take decision by myself, and I have taken the decision. Once I take the decision, I tell him, but I did it, okay, go for it.
Despite his vast experience as a cardiovascular surgeon, Dr. Pramanand says he learns new things every day. This has kept him going as he continues to improve his craft.
You may pick up some things, even from the junior most guys. You should be open to, your mind should be open. That's what I learned from Albert Starr, the great surgeon I worked with in the United States. He's a senior surgeon. He doesn't have to listen to anyone. He's a big boy. He has got his own plane, his own car. He's a big fellow. But if a junior guy tells him something, he will listen to it. And if it is sensible, he'll take it. Otherwise, he will tell you what you're talking is just, just stories. So I think that's an important lesson. However simple your assistant may be, or whoever, even if it's a nurse. But if they are telling you something sensible, you should be ready to listen to it. True. And if it is true, you must take it. And that's how you learn.
Dr. Pramanand also has his proud moments in his career. The most rewarding for him, he says, is when he performs a successful surgery and his patients and their families who had almost given up appreciate him.
I used to do a lot of surgeries for Middle East patients, Iraqis and Muscat when I was in India. One patient told, your name is along with Christ in his house. I thought that's good. So in his room, he has kept Christ. I think, he's a Christian fellow. He's an Iraqi Christian. He told, along with Christ, your photo is also there. Some fellow saw it and came and told me in India.
He appreciates that his career is demanding and his schedule ever busy, but he counts on his wife for support, whom he describes as his strong pillar. They have been married since 1987.
One of the things I told my wife in the early days is that being a doctor, there is no time for me. I may have to go in the middle of the night. I may come back maybe after 24 hours. The good thing is that because her father was a doctor, she knew how the drill was. He was a pediatrician. So he was always busy. So she knew what was she in for. And she told that no problem. Because I think that's very important, because when someone is not used to a doctor's life, who is very busy and, comes after 24 hours, 48 hours, it can create some unhappiness.
The couple has 2 children who stay abroad. Dr. Pramanand says they also give him the motivation to tirelessly continue doing his job.
The elder one is a girl. She is married now. She's settled in Australia, Sydney, married to an engineer. So they are migrated to Australia.
Is she medicine also?
No, she is a graphic designer. She works as the head of creative design for a e-magazine called I Subscribe. It's an Australian British magazine. So she's head of creative design. Husband is an engineer. My son is a lawyer by profession. He's in Pennsylvania and he's doing PhD in law. So hopefully finish in 2 months' time and he becomes a doctor.
When he is not performing surgery or attending to patients, you will find Dr. Pramanand traveling, listening to music, watching a movie, or spending time with his family, among other things.
Next, Gloria Milimu comes with the story of Dr. Alfred Odhiambo. Dr. Odhiambo is a radiologist but an environmentalist at heart.
He's a doctor by training, one who has managed to create a name for himself in the field of radiology. Whereas his job entails looking at the structures of the brain and the spinal cord, Dr. Alfred Odhiambo, who boasts of training hundreds of radiologists in this field, is also an environmentalist at heart.
My name is Dr. Alfred Odhiambo Otieno. I'm a neuroradiologist. Neuroradiology involves the use of cutting-edge tools, but particularly magnetic resonance imaging, to look at structures of the brain and the spinal cord.
His passion for environmental conservation dates way back to his childhood. Memories of what would later see him develop interest in urban farming is what Dr. Odhiambo intimates formed the desire to see residents of this prowling slum of Kibra in Nairobi adopt better methods of urban farming.
My father was a forester for 26 years, and my recollections of childhood is that of us as a family being thrown into a lorry with all our possessions, being moved from one forest to another. But what I can remember very vividly is that 1969, we are now deep inside Giriama land. Beyond Malindi is a place called Jilore Primary School, That is where I went in as a, to do my class 1. And 1969, that's when I started planting trees. And initially it was just a routine thing because everybody else was doing it. But then it became a passion. And every place we traveled to, so first we are in Malindi, we went later on to Kitale, we left Kitale, we went to, again, we went to a place called Oyugis, up the hill, Wire Forest, and all these places, our trademark or our real engagement was with trees. I'm now involved in a big project which I'm trying to do in a hardship area of Ukambani.
Working as a carpenter in the slum many years back, Dr. Odhiambo trains a group of youth, persons living with disability, widows and garbage collectors on the importance of environmental conservation and growing chemical-free crops for better health outcome as a way of giving back to his community.
I'm very keen to see us nurture this brand of agriculture, which you call urban agriculture, because then we can break off from the old tradition, from what is rampant, from what is easy to practice, which in my opinion is almost like a chemical warfare in the soil. We see plants which are not doing very well, and instead of really spending time to really study, get to know the problem and offer a sensible solution, we just pump in chemicals. The problem with that approach is that those chemicals are then absorbed by the plants that we're going to eat. And then you find our body is just completely poisoned with a lot of chemicals. There is a new science. There is a science that is starting to emerge, that there are biological solutions to every problem. There are such solutions in humans, which is my area of training. But science is one thing. And maybe there are differences between animals and plants. But plants also share some of those traits, including communication. So there is a new understanding that there's actually an interaction below this level of the soil, which is the interaction between plant roots and microbes. These microbes include bacteria. These microbes include fungi. These microbes also include nematodes. There's also particular, other, organisms, the worms, and all these create a very unique biology below the level of the ground. If you can understand this biology, if you can perfect it, if you can know what is called succession of microbes, succession of plants, and be able to bring this interaction together.
Dr. Odhiambo, just like many other Kenyans from a needy background who have been privileged to be beneficiaries of a government scholarship, believes that giving back to the community will not only be service to his people through sharing the knowledge he acquired over the years, but is also service to his country.
What drives me is simply the recognition that, yes, you may achieve a lot personally, you may achieve a lot professionally. As a neuroradiologist, I gave myself one big responsibility: to transfer this knowledge, transfer the skills. And today when I sit in class and I listen to students of my students talk neuroradiology, I think on that particular score we have delivered. But there is another aspect which I possibly have a lot of work to do. And this is about my responsibility as a citizen of this republic. As a citizen of Kenya, I have a responsibility. It's not just corporate. Corporate is when I'm at the University of Nairobi. But as an individual, if I want to see a great country, I need to give back to the country.
A compromised immunity during childhood may have ignited his desire to become a doctor to solve everyday's health problems. But along the way, the passion for environmental conservation he developed is now what he largely uses to help better the health of his people. Dr. Alfred Odhiambo's golden rule is take care of plants in order for them to take care of your health.
We wrap up this episode with an unusual story. This is the story of a woman who left her career as a nursery school teacher to take care of the dead. Chebet Birir sat with Catherine Jenga and tells us what inspired her to be a mortuary attendant.
The mystery that comes with death perhaps makes mortuary attendants a mysterious group of professionals that many do not quite understand. It is considered as an intersection between science and art. Caring for the dead is a calling, and it is not a job for everyone.
Okay, my name is Catherine Karira Jenga. I'm a mother of two. I'm a teacher by profession, but a mortician by passion.
Catherine Jenga believes she was called to the profession after her father died in 2018, and she did not like how he was treated and preserved.
When my dad passed, he was in a certain facility whereby I did not really like the way they kept him at that particular time. So when we transferred him to KU, the reception we got at KU was awesome. So I was like, okay, so this job Wamama Pia can go for it. So I asked one of the ladies and she told me, yes, you can go for training. So I started now using my Google. When I was Googling, it used to give me Moi Teaching. So I went to Moi Teaching and they told me, no, you just go to Nairobi University. They offer the course at a certain period of time. So I went to Nairobi University and I got a chance and I went for training for 3 months.
This is the funeral parlor at the Nairobi Women's Hospital. Catherine takes us through the process from when she receives a body to when she hands it to the family for interment.
We receive the body from the other side or this side, from those who are from the hospital. We receive them from this side. For the outsiders, we receive them from the other side. We use this stretcher to carry the body from the entry point. Then once we receive the body, we put it here for the family to view and identify. If at all they want the clothing, we give it to them. After that, we come with the body to this. These are our slabs where we work on, our working benches. Actually, this is an embalming lab. It is 2-in-1. We do autopsies here, that is the postmortems, and the embalming, the cannulation and the whatever. So once we use this, it is inseparable. So we use this, we lift, we put the body here, and then we disinfect the body before any other process. After we undress, we disinfect the body. After we disinfect the body, we leave the body to dry for about 5 to 10 minutes. Then we set the features, we release the rigor mortis, that is the stiffness of the body, and then we embalm. We use gravity. This is what we embalm with. We use gravity. This one, after we do the incision on the left thigh, we use this one for embalming. So when we use this, you see it is reddish in color. There is a powder form we use, it's called eosin. So we use 10% of formalin, and then I mix with this. Because once I embalm, I will replace blood with the formalin, the formaldehyde. So I cannulate my body, I put it. You see it has a sharp end. I use this pipe. This one is the one which is going to transport the formalin from the container to the body. So I support it with these stones to avoid the force. So it goes gently and slowly. So, because it is normally 10% of the formalin that we use. So I normally climb here. I climb here slowly, nisianguke. This is my formalin. All these are formalin. So we have plenty, so we don't go short of formalin. So I use my formalin. I've already mixed it with eosin, and it is very harsh to the eyes. So once I use, because the slab is tall enough for me, I just remove my kakatin and I pour inside here. So once I pour, the other side I've already arrested. So I will climb down after it is full, and then I unarrest the femoral artery to enable the transportation of the formaldehyde to the body. So as I climb, as the body is absorbing this, I am massaging the bodies to maintain the lifelike features. Because this one it can change the color of the body. To avoid that, we try as much as we can to maintain the lifelike features of that loved person. That is it with the embalming. After that, you suture the place where you did the incision. We have the thick one. We have this one, which we use for suturing, and you can also opt for this one. Then we have S-shaped needles, the ones that we use for suturing the incision, because we have to suture it to avoid leakage of the formalin. Yes. But before you suture, you have to insert a cotton wool. Then you suture the body. You wash again that body, you leave it to drain. Like 30 minutes. After it drains, I put my body on my stretcher and I store it to my cold room. If it's a COVID body, we don't embalm. But for the natural cases, I embalm, I disinfect, I drain the body, and then I pack it to my cold room.
Catherine says that nothing will make her change her career. This is where she belongs and she is here to stay.
Do you know how many people I preach to in a day? Do you know how many people I give hope in a day? Do you know how many families I comfort in a day? That is what I love doing most.
That's where we wrap up this episode of Doctor's Diary. Join us next time as we highlight more stories of medical professionals making a difference. My name is Dr. Mercy Korir.